Number 10. Sphinx. Alexandria was one of the most tourist-flocked cities in the world. Alexander the Great invented the city to be a female version of himself, in a place that people could visit for rest. Alexander the Great is buried there, and it is associated with Cleopatra, who once visited it for the summer holidays. Cleopatra has mentioned a city near it that was later wiped away by the waves of an earthquake, but we'll tell you that later in the video. Egypt is the new Alexandria, if we could say so. It was built close to it. It has now taken over its land. In 1992, Frank Goddio discovered a Sphinx worth $600 million. The artifact is situated at the Cairo Museum and could be moved to the Grand Egyptian Museum when it finally opens. Number 9. Salcombe Shipwreck. The royal family of Morocco sent a tribute ship to England, which is wrecked in the 17th century. The content of the ship, its name, or the story behind it remains a mystery. As such, nobody went looking for it. The ship was discovered in the 1990s in Salcombe off the Devon coast in England. Historians have not made any connections to prehistoric mentions of the ship. The content was examined when the seabed shifted in and exposed the remaining artifacts. Apparently, we still haven't scratched the surface of the remains. The 2004 discovery uncovered 13th century artifacts, which amounted to 800 million. The English could be raking in billions if we could find anything else. Number 8. Antikythera mechanism. A group of sponge divers in Greece discovered an ancient underwater wreck in the 1900s. The ship contained statues and coins of the 4th century. Upon the authorities examining the content and making notes, Valerio Stace, an archaeologist, discovered a peculiar item on the ship. It was the world's first computer. The concept seems odd in terms of the work it did back then. The figure is displayed in Athens. It is still being closely studied for more insight. However, its functions are astonishing. Did you know that the first computer could predict astronomical events like the eclipse and the cycle of the Olympic Games? The mechanism could introduce the world to many new technologies. Number 7. HMS Victory. Admiral Nelson of Britain is connected to this next point. He was the leader of the Battle of Trafalgar in 1744. The battle had mighty ships, but one was simpler yet epic. The Victory was sunk in a storm in the English channels. Since other vessels were of bigger prominence, it was lost without a trace. A similar ship with the same name was also missing, which stalled the search progress completely. However, in 2016, a group of Odyssey Marine Exploration found the Victory ship. At the time of the sinking, it had 4 tons of gold. The cannons and other artifacts also carry rich value. Altogether, the Victory ship is worth more than $1 billion today. Number 6. Flor de la Mar. Flor de la Mar, which means flower of the sea, is a refined vessel that the Portuguese could boast of. Of course, its valuable nature deceived the Portuguese about its functionality when it had repair issues. They were convinced that it could work despite the pressing issues. Flower of the Sea worked hard for the kingdom, but sank in the storm in 1511. Currently, a man who claimed to have discovered the Flor de la Mar in 1992 could not authenticate his claims, and therefore, the ship could be well on the earth of the ocean still. If the ship is truly Flor de la Mar, then Spain, Portugal, Indonesia, and Malaysia are all gunning to collect the content of the ship. As such, the ship's content has not yet been evacuated. Suppose it were evacuated, the vessel's content could come up to $2 billion. The case of the discovered yet unrecovered ship is similar to the case of the San Jose. The 1908 ship could be worth $4 to $17 billion, yet Colombia and Spain are fighting over ownership. Number 5. The RMS Republic. White Star Line, the British company that launched the famous Titanic, is on this list. The company launched a steam-powered ocean liner in 1903 for the affluent. The vessel was patronized by the top of society and the wealthiest of citizens of Great Britain. Sadly, it collided with another ship in 1909 during a thick fog. The RMS was one of the first ships equipped with a wireless radio system. Hence, they saved the 1,500 passengers with an SOS message to the rescue team. The items aboard for the millionaire travelers included billions of gold for Russia. The main content has not been discovered, but a few artifacts, including gold coins and statues, made up close to $5 billion. Number 4. THONIS and HERACLEION. The Egyptian city of THONIS, or HERACLEION, as the Greeks named it, continues to be the heart of many historical debates. Some believe that the city did not exist, while others can confirm that past events point to it. For instance, how do you explain the decree of Canopus, a statement honoring Pharaoh Ptolemy III, mentions Heracleon for donations and sacrifices? THONIS was near Alexandria, the biggest port city in Egypt by the 2nd century. Unfortunately, a huge earthquake sank the city underwater with its mighty waves. The city was mentioned in many tales, including the legend of Atlantis, but there was no accurate location. Finally, in 2000, Heracleon was discovered underwater near Egypt, yet only 5% has been explored as of now. The value for what has been uncovered is nearing $10 billion. Number 3. San Jose. The San Jose was a 3-masted ship of the Navy of Spain. The battleship was sunk during the War of Spanish Succession in 1708. In fact, it was loaded with coins, gold, and other treasures. The vessel sank off the Cartagena coast in Colombia, but a group revealed that they had found it. The ensuing years were a battle for San Jose. Colombia and Spain took a legal route to claim ownership of the ship. Finally, in 2015, a crew found the spot of the complete wreck and claimed it for Colombia. The professional crew who discovered it has chosen to keep it a secret. According to historians, the content of San Jose could value between $4 and $17 billion. Number 2. CAESAREA Treasure. Ran Fenstein and Ofer Rana, amateur divers around the Israeli coast, discovered an old broken ship in the ocean in 2016. The pair explored the ship and discovered statues, artifacts, and over 1,000 gold coins buried in the ship. Meanwhile, forensics exposed that the cargo vessel had sunk in nearly 1,600 years ago. The authorities took over it and started transporting them to safety for evaluation. Moreover, it was a Roman cargo vessel. Similarly, a Roman cargo vessel was discovered in 2015 with timeless artifacts and coins. The combined wealth of these ships is still being calculated, and we estimate that their price would outweigh all previous treasures. Number 1. First Sea Battle. Sicily was under Roman control for many decades due to its victory at the Battle of Egadi Islands. The battle was the first naval battle in history. In March 241 BC, it was fought between the Greeks, Carthaginians, and Roman forces. The vessel had gold, coins, and other valuable weapons. However, none of the rich content surpasses the value of the insight the battle site offers academia and history accounts. The knowledge from the expedition discovery could transcend entertainment, literature, and culture. The monetary value of this fight site is unknown, but it is definitely worth more than everything found under the sea combined.